Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to the Torrent Pharmaceuticals Limited Q4 FY21 earnings conference call. Have with us today Mr. Sanjay Gupta, Executive Director, International Business, Mr. Sudhir Menon, Executive Director and Chief Financial Officer, and Mr. Aman Mehta, Chief Marketing Officer, India Business. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal for an operator by pressing star then 0 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Sudhir Menon. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Q4 FY21 earnings call. We hope you and your families are keeping safe and healthy. Q4 continued to witness mixed trends of COVID recovery across the market. In the midst of the second wave of pandemic in certain geographies we operate, and particularly in India, we continue to give highest priority to the health and safety of all our employees and their families while ensuring continuity of supplies to fulfill patient needs. In terms of financial performance during the quarter, revenues were flat at 1937 crores. The operating EBITDA was 582 crores, up by 6% on a YOY basis. The net profits were 324 crores, up by 3% on YOY basis. Adjusted for one-time tax benefit in the base year, the net profit grew by 24%. This adjustment was towards one-time tax benefit of 53 crores, which we got under the CARES Act, which was enacted by the US government in March 20 in response to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Thank you for patiently waiting. We have the management reconnected, so you can go ahead, please.
Yeah, I don't know where I got disconnected, so I think I'll just repeat the financial performance during the quarter. So during the quarter, the revenues were flat at 1937 crores. Operating EBITDA was 582 crores, up by 6%. The net profits were 324 crores, up by 3%, but adjusted for one-time tax benefit which we received last year, same quarter in the US, the net profits grew at 24%. In terms of leverage, the net debt to EBITDA has come down to 1.6x as of 31st March 2021 versus 2.2x as at 31st March 2020. The Board of Directors have recommended the final dividend of rupees 15 per equity share. I now would request someone to share India performance for the quarter.
Thanks, Sudhir. India revenues were 922 crores, up by 10% on a year-on-year basis versus IPM growth of 5%. The growth was driven by continued recovery in top brands in chronic, subchronic, and acute therapies and aided by new launches. Torrent continues to outperform the market in high potential launches from last year. We further launched 3 new products in Q4, including Brivaracetam in the CNS therapy. Our Vildagliptin is ranked first in terms of volumes amongst the branded generic players and continues to gain strong traction. All other launches in the CVD therapy continue to gain market share in leadership positions. We have completed the field force restructuring announced in the previous quarter, and MR strength now stands at 3,600 with a PCPM of 8.5 lakhs. And this portfolio is now fully integrated. The Torrent has entered into a voluntary licensing agreement with Lilly for manufacturing and distribution of baricitinib in India. We're currently in talks with several other companies for similar partnerships and plan to strengthen our COVID portfolio. Our existing gastro, VMN, and anticoagulant portfolio has played an important role in the second wave of COVID as co-prescriptions. Torrent continues to focus on brand building and specialty approach and has 16 brands in the top 500 of the IPM, with 10 brands more than 100 crore sales. I'll now hand to Mr. Sanjay Gupta for the international business.
Thanks, Aman. Starting with our branded generic business in Brazil, Q4 revenues were realized 141 million, up by 19%. On a full year basis, our revenues were 454 million reais as compared to 409 million reais in the previous year, and a growth of 11%. For reference purposes, the overall market growth in Brazil for the pharma market is close to 9%, and a substantial piece of it is coming from COVID-related therapies, an area where we are not present in Brazil. Despite being absent from COVID, we are able to grow at rates superior to the market. The growth has been driven by market share gain in our largest brands, new launches made in the preceding quarters, especially Mirtazapine in CNS and Bisoprolol and CND, and an uptake in our generics business. Moving on to Germany, revenues were at euro 30 million, up by 14%. Overall, German market growth has been affected due to an extension of lockdown. In Q4, Torrent has regained its market share to 7.1%, which is at par with its level prior to quality issues arising in Q3 of 2019. In the US, Q4 revenues were 37 million. They were down by 29%. US growth continues to be impacted due to temporary discontinuation of our starting products, absence of new launches, and price erosion of portfolio. As of March 31st, 2021, 54 ANDAs were pending approval and 6 tentative approvals were received. 8 ANDAs were filed during the last quarter. To conclude Q4, Torrent continues to witness strong growth in India, Germany, and Brazil, despite the mixed trends in market recovery, and we are backed by market share gains and new launches. Our focus continues to be in deepening our presence in our core market and then returning our US business back to growth. Operator, we can open the call to questions now.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Prakash Agarwal from Axis Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi, good evening, and thanks for the opportunity. My first question is on comments on the free cash flow generation for the year and the debt deduction. What has been the number and what is the outlook for the next year, the 22?
So I think in terms of debt reduction, this year net we would have repaid around 900 crores. I think a similar number can be looked at for the next year. That's what looks like as on date. And in terms of free cash flows, I think we should be close to 1750 to 1800 this year.
Okay. And in terms of India outlook, so clearly 10% growth has been better than peers, but as we move to 22, I understand uncertainties remain, but how do you see the outlook for the rest of the year, given last year, the base was low and we are seeing uptick in volume now? So, and despite the lockdown continuing, how do you see the growth for 22?
So the full year would be hard to say as of now, but if you look at maybe the next 1 or 2 quarters, going by the April secondary data that has been released, on a base adjusted basis for last year, the IPM growth in the month of April is around 21%, and predominantly driven by COVID-related prescriptions and treatments. So as the situation improves through the next few weeks and months, this should start tapering down. But on a normalized for the corrected basis last year, we should expect the IPM to grow at about 15% for Q1 and maybe something similar for Q2.
Okay. And lastly, on the US business side, 2 things here. One is on the, from US FDA, have you heard anything? They've released recent guidelines on desktop inspection. That's one. And secondly, are we on track to start seeing some recovery from second half onwards? Would that be correct understanding?
So from the US FDA, we have no particular guidance to share. So we have not heard anything in terms of either the desktop audit or in terms of travel to India specific to Torrent. As far as the date for turnaround is concerned, it's quite dependent upon getting some approvals from the 54 ANDAs that we have pending with the US FDA. It's hard to pinpoint a date for us, Prakash.
Okay, but as a matter of precaution, have you started to transfer out or any large chunky product that we might be expecting or start filing from other sources? Is there a plan B which we are working on?
Yeah, so we've started transferring products to a couple of CMOs in India. So that process has been initiated. But it is a little time-consuming process, so it's hard for me to tell you when we have an impact. The other things which are a little slight positive for the US market is, our Levittown plant started manufacturing GMP matches in April, and we would start commercializing them in June. So that is, I would say, has started. We have got our Sartan portfolio is relaunching also in the June timeframe. So by the end of the year, we'll be back in consideration for 4 to 5 Sartans. And lastly, we've got some derma approvals, specifically one product called Dapsone, where we received a tentative approval. So, the few things here and there are working out fine. But the big Indrad and Dahej plants are the ones which can substantially move the needle, seem to be stuck with the FDA for now.
Okay. Thank you for the detailed explanation. Thank you so much. I'll join back.
Thank you. A reminder to the participants, anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 now. The next question is from the line of Neha Manpuria from JP Morgan. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for taking my question. My first question is on the Germany business. That business, despite the quality issue being resolved, is at about 30 euros for the last few quarters. I think you mentioned some impact from extension of lockdown, but now that things are normalizing in Europe, are we seeing an uptick in that business? And how should we look at the growth potential going forward? Can we expect more tender wins, higher volumes that we can rake up there?
So generally, the German market suffered quite dramatically. The latest IMS figures show a quarterly decline of 3.5%. as compared to a normal growth rate of 3-4%. So the market has suffered. We also had some issues in the supply chain, with the warehouses and the wholesalers had some COVID-related issues because of which the uptake was a little slow. And assuming that the German market normalizes soon to its low single-digit growth rates, we can expect Torrent to reach high single digits, I said, relatively soon. We have no issues in terms of winning tenders or in terms of demand. We continue to launch new products, and I think also the supply-related constraints and the quality issues have been resolved. We should be back on track for say high single-digit growth rates.
And what is your expectation in terms of the market normalizing in Germany? Is it a couple of months, or do you think it could take longer? I mean, what would be the factors to for that market to achieve normalization?
Yeah, so the key factor is vaccination. So Germany is a little bit lagging behind, the highest rates that we've seen in the UK and the US, where it's close to 50%. Germany is close to about 35% vaccination, but it's ramping up quite fast. So I think as soon as they cross the 50%, we should expect life and markets to normalize to a greater extent. So our expectation is that, come Q3 of this current calendar year, we will be looking up in Germany.
Understood. And my second question is on the operating cost. The operating cost seems to have inched up, particularly after if I adjust it even for the R&D spend. So is this full normalization of our costs in India, or is there any one-off element in this operating cost number?
I don't know whether to call it as a one time. So as you said, there's a normalization of R&D activities which are happening, which has caused increase in R&D expenses, right? Those numbers are there with you. So the increase in R&D expenses versus the previous quarter is roughly 36 crores, right? So that's one component. Yeah. The second component is, there's some additional activities which we are carrying out at Germany. So there's outsourced manpower which we have taken. So it can be 3 months, 5 months, 6 months, based on the amount of work which is involved in Germany. So I think this would remain for, let's say, the next 6 months on a very conservative side, I can say, and then probably it should normalize.
So the SG&A cost currently does not factor in normalization of the India business. Is that correct?
No, so the expenses have started going up in India, but not in a major way, I would say.
Okay. Understood. Thank you.
Thank you. We would request the participants to please press star and 1 to ask a question. The next question is from the line of Damayanti Kerai from HSBC Securities. Please go ahead.
Hi, good evening, and thank you for the opportunity. My question is on gross margin front. So this quarter we have seen around 74%, so higher than usual rate seen in previous quarter. So how should we look at gross margin trends ahead?
Yeah. So I think quarter one was also 74. Something out of the way, I would say, and I think the guidance which I had provided earlier is that 72 to 73 looks a normal kind of a thing. But yes, I mean, to specifically answer your question on this quarter, the share of branded business has gone up compared to quarter three, almost I think by 5%. So that's bringing in an incremental margin significantly, I would say, out of the 2%. And there would be some change because of the product mixes across the geography. So that's how the 2% is coming in quarter four.
Okay. So broadly, as you indicated, 72 to 73 is the normal range which we should be looking ahead.
Yeah, and I would say more towards 73 now, because if you look at last 4 quarters, by and large, I think we are moving towards 73.
Okay, that's helpful. And my second question is on Brazil market. Apologies, I missed your initial commentary. So can you talk a little bit more about what kind of recovery you are seeing in the market, and how Torrent is placed in both the branded as well as generic part of the market for next few quarters?
So Brazil, on a macroeconomic front, there are a couple of good pieces of news. Firstly, on the vaccination side, it's close to about 20% of the population vaccinated, and about 1 million people being vaccinated every day. So it's speeding up. We expect the latest forecast for the economy last year was GDP of -4, and this year the expectation is +4. And on the exchange rate side also, the central bank recently raised rates so that stabilized the exchange rate, and the real has in fact strengthened in the last 1 month. So overall, the picture for the country, despite all the political turmoil and the things that we are, is looking bright from an economic point of view. Pharma market reflects that, and pharma market is going strong. We continue to expect so this year is about 8.8% growth, 2020. 2021, the expectation is similar, 9 to 10% growth in the pharma market, and our expectation is that we will be doing better than that. Basically, on the fact that we operate in high chronic areas, we've got large brands, and the focus is on specialists. So expectation for Brazil business going forward, with the new launches and the focus on generic business, is that it should continue to perform well. We would be 100% discontinuing the tender business from October of the current year. So that was one factor which led to variability in our performance from quarter to quarter. So that should be a thing of the past soon.
Okay. So remaining business, like we are now removed the tender business. So branded generic part should be the 80-85% of the business, and then remaining 15-20% from the generic business, right?
No, so 90-10.
90-10.
So about 90% would be branded generics, about 10%.
Okay. And on approval cycle, though it's COVID time, but any improvement on the approval cycles for Brazilian market?
Approvals, usually we've gone 2.5 years for approval in Brazil. So, things are on track. So we haven't seen any slowdown in terms of the regulatory agencies. The ANVISA continues to work well. The overall, I would say the environment for doing business in Brazil from the regulator side, from the tax side, everything has become better over time. So no major, I would say, things holding us back. The level of transparency at the ANVISA, the ease of organizing meetings and asking questions is becoming something which is on par with what we see in other developed countries. I think we expect generally at least on the branded generic side about 3 to 4 launches every year, which would be good enough for us to maintain the momentum. And then our next project, we would, as the plans get approved, we would see later as to how and when we expand our presence in terms of field force. But for now, we are pretty optimistic about the forecast for the business.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you very much for your answers.
Thank you. A reminder to the participants, anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 now. The next question is from the line of Shyam Srinivasan from Goldman Sachs. Please go ahead.
Hi, thank you for taking my question. Just the first one on the entire branded generic portfolio across geographies. Just want to understand how is the pricing environment now, while COVID kind of normalizes. We've historically taken some bit of, inflation in terms of prices. If you could just share the outlook for India and other places where from a branded generic and a pricing perspective.
So for the India market, the price component of growth has been in the range of 6 to 7%, which we believe should be sustainable for the next few years. No real change in that we anticipate.
Sanjay, you want to talk about Brazil?
Yeah. So on the Brazilian side also, the price increase is unlike US and Germany. In Brazil, every year we get a price increase in April time frame. Price increases are usually in the range of 4 to 5%, and this continues to be the case. Most of our products benefit from price increases. Although for some certain products, based on the competitive dynamics, we might choose to take lower or higher. And on that, it's something that we should expect in the current macroeconomic scenario.
Got it. And just a related question on from a competitive standpoint, do you think the 6 to 7% in India or the 4 to 5% in Brazil?
It's more or less similar, I would say. It's a little bit less rigid. But in countries like Mexico, etc., you can also take price increases on an annualized basis based on what your competitors are doing. So I would say BG is very different from GG in that way.
Got it. No, I'm just curious to know from a competitive dynamic, 6 to 7% say in India, you think you're still within where the competitors are from a prescription perspective and there is no usage that from an affordability point you're missing out on prescriptions?
No. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. We would be well within the competitive range of all the top near our ranking. All would be within our similar price range.
Got it. Second question is just on the, I think you spoke about gross margins. Just on EBITDA margins, how should we look at, say, fiscal 22? Several moving parts I understand. And also the linking question is on R&D. Are we now going back, is the fourth quarter run rate of about 7.5%? Is that what we should look forward to for next year?
No, so I think it's a difficult question since, the whole second wave has started and there are a lot of restrictions, partial restrictions and lockdowns which we are seeing. So I think we'll have to wait for quarter one to really start talking about these two parameters.
Okay, but R&D is something that you control, right? So do you think that is something that is steps up or?
No, R&D I think for the full year. I think a normal year, I would say 21-22 should be anywhere between 6 or 6.5.
Got it. Thank you so much and all the best. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Shriram Rathi from ICICI Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for the opportunity, sir. There are two questions. Firstly, on the US sales. Our US sales have dropped from $50 million rate to $37 million now. What's our thought process? Are we thinking that we are already on the bottom side and if from here it should move up, or we can expect some price erosion can again bring it lower?
Aisha, I think Sanjay got disconnected. Can you connect him again?
Yes, I've dialed her out already.
Okay.
We have Mr. Gupta reconnected.
Yeah, hi.
Yeah, hi. So my question was basically on the US sales, our run rate has come down from $50 to $37 million now. How should we look at this number going forward? From here on, should we expect some derma launches bring up the sales, or the price erosion can continue to impact the sales?
We have a few launches coming from the sources which I had identified. So we will be starting with the Levittown sales from June onwards. We have currently a court case going on a major product called Dapsone. So we expect a judgment from the courts anytime. And depending upon the legal outcomes, we might decide to launch that product. It could be an important launch for this year. And then thirdly, I would say that we have some approvals pending from our external partners' products. So my guidance going forward would be that we should expect, and we in a good environment, we should expect at least stability, if not a slight positive momentum. But hard to predict how the price erosion takes place, how the competition impacts our current portfolio, because we are majority 98% of our sales is base business. So base business gets impacted just like that for other companies. So there are a few positive wins, and they can help us compensate for normal price erosion. But beyond that, it's hard for me to predict.
Okay, got it. Thanks for that. And so one step, please, just want to check on the tax rate. Our guidance was that it should be around 22 to 25%. It seems to be lower at around 18%. So how should we expect going forward? No, I think that's the number you should work on, 22 to 25 for the next year. Okay, got it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Vibha Ravi from Grip Capital. Please go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible. You can go ahead.
Okay, so I just wanted to know, in the beginning, you said that there was some talk on for strengthening the COVID portfolio. Could you elaborate on that a little bit, please?
So we've already entered into an agreement with Lilly for baricitinib, and similar talks are ongoing. So hopefully over the next few weeks, we should be able to have a few more products with us, which would be for COVID treatments. So that's all we can share at this point.
Okay, no names or anything concrete that you can discuss right now?
It would be confidential, hence unfortunately not.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Prakash Agarwal from Axis Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity again. So just on this business, that also seem to have declined more so, quarter on quarter also, YOY. So, is there any specific reason and expect it to come back to, that?
Yeah, Prakash, I think it will come back. This quarter it's low basically because there was some revalidation which Novo Nordisk had advised us. So it's WIP. So anyway, the stocks are there. The sales will start coming in quarter one. So the sales is not lost from that perspective. And for the full year, there was some maintenance activity which had happened earlier, and that's the reason why you see a low number. So I think anywhere around 85 to 90 should be the run rate which we should be looking at for this year.
How much, sir?
85 to 90 per quarter.
Okay. Okay. And how much of the Lilly business is there? I mean, it is 85% of the total reported others?
Lilly? No, I mean, okay. You're talking about
no, sorry. Yeah.
Right. So I think this quarter it's lower by almost 25 crores, I would say.
Okay, got it. Okay, and I think Sanjay spoke about stability coming back for the year. So I mean, the previous participant question of 50 going to 37. So are we saying that second half onwards we'll be able to see around $50 million run rate again? Or are we saying that this 30-35 will stop eroding?
Oh, what we are saying is that it's hard to predict the US business. We have negative drivers in terms of price erosion, but we also have a few positive drivers in terms of restart of Levittown, in terms of new launches from external partners, and in terms of our derma portfolio, which is coming on stream. So all in all, net, hopefully there is a slight stability or positive momentum from 37.
Okay, and Levittown was about $9-10 million sales, if I'm not wrong, analyzed.
Yeah, prior to cessation of production, it was about 14.
Okay. Expected to revive?
Yeah, over a period of time.
Understood. Okay, and from the cost side, just one clarification. So as you mentioned, costs have started to come back, but not to that extent. Would we say that moving into Q1, Q2, where we had a full lockdown scenario, and since the activities have come back much more than what it was despite the current lockdown, cost will be, marginally higher, or it would be substantially higher?
In quarter 4?
No, on the upcoming quarters, first half of the year, where we saw total lockdown last year.
Yeah, Prakash, I think it's better to wait for quarter 1 and start talking about it, because I think it's too premature to start talking about the expense level.
No, so my question actually, I mean, if you see the down level, April, May, there are pockets of full lockdown that we saw, the country last year. I'm just trying to get a sense that what are the activity levels today versus what it was last year.
No, I mean, so in terms of activity levels, our all India field force has been working from home. So obviously, the travel expenses for this month and for however long this would continue, the travel expenses would not be there, and some of the physical activity spend would not be there. So that part could be a permanent saving for the year. But apart from that, how it turns out is still too early to say.
Okay, fair enough. Got it. Thank you so much, and all the best.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Anmol from JM Holding. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for taking my question. So my first question is, slight detailing on some of the cost drivers. I know, Suresh, you said that it's too early to talk about them in Q1, but directionally in a post-COVID world, how do you see these cost structures evolve? Given that some activities are now clearly going to be less of, and some things like digital, etc., you're going to have to do more of. So if you can just give us some directional color on some of the cost drivers that evolve in a post-COVID world, and how you're looking about them, forecasting them, that'll be helpful.
No, Anmol, I think what we are saying is if COVID was not there, then all the costs would come back, right? I mean, what we are saying is quarter 1 is also getting impacted because of certain restrictions and lockdowns, partial lockdowns. I mean, it will not be right for me to give you any guidance. So I think the correct way to look at it is that pre-COVID, what was the level of expenses which was there, and consider a kind of an inflation on those expenses, and that could be the basis if 100% COVID is not there.
No, I get that, Sudhir. What I'm trying to understand is that, in a post-COVID world, there are things which could probably see a more, permanent change. For example, will doctors be willing to see your MRs twice a day?
Anmol,
And does that therefore change?
Yeah, Anmol, really speaking, there would be some cost efficiency, but that would not be very significant. So our expectation is that, if COVID is not there, most of the physical meetings will start happening again, and I think a significant part of the cost will come back.
Okay. Thanks. That's helpful. My second question is around the U.S. business. First is, obviously, have you heard anything from the regulator during the quarter which is significant, which you'd like to kind of flag off?
No, so I think I said we have not heard anything. So we have no updates to provide in terms of guidance from the regulator as to when they would do either a virtual inspection or an in-person inspection.
But any sense on the fact that now, virtual inspection guidelines, etc., are out, is it, any sense you have around what time it could be, or you think it will be just, your guess would be as good as mine? So.
Yeah, no, so we've been pushing, but let's say that it's more of a, push from our side. And I don't know, where we fit into the FDA's current priorities in the COVID environment. So it's hard for us to kind of speak for them.
Yeah. And my last question on the U.S. business. So, obviously $37 million is the bottom end of the range, and we do expect it to kind of revert. But, even at around $200 million, give or take $5-10 million, it is not really a scale business given our size of profitability and ambition and aspiration. So, over a 2-3 year time frame, how are we looking at the business? Are we kind of happy having it? We need to augment it inorganically. What are some of the thoughts around that? And you spoke about some positive catalysts in the U.S. business, but anything material to kind of over a 2-3 year time frame move this number materially higher from where we are?
So the number is very suboptimal, right? So for Torrent, the US business presents, I would say, 15% or lower of our overall revenue, which is clearly not where where it needs to be in terms of an overall company profile. The US market is more than 50% of the world market, so potentially we are below index by any standards. And there are at least 5 Indian companies or 6 that are doing more than $1 billion in US revenue. And, Torrent, it's clear to say we would aspire to be amongst them rather than where we are right now. So directionally, we are clear with what ambitions we have and how do we want to go about building this business. We seem to be caught in a negative spiral right now, but it's not going to last, right? So when you say 2 to 3 years, we expect to break out of it. Just a simple indication, last year, again, we filed 12 ANDAs, which is in line with the previous year where we had filed about 11. So the filings continue. These filings are complex filings. They are good filings. We expect to get approvals, if not for site issues. So, I would say medium term, the ambition would be to grow on that last base that we had of about 200 million and to try to grow, with launching 10 ANDAs and 15 ANDAs every year. Which would compensate for the price declines, but also lead to a positive momentum. So, but hard to pinpoint a number, right, in the current situation where we seem to be stuck in a log jam. And even if we take our products to CMOs, the timing of launch, the first wave you miss, right, because you're not able to launch on the date the market opens. And then later on you will come with the CMO product where probably the cost of goods is a little higher than what you would have it in-house. So I would not like to go to numbers, but directionally I agree with you that this is not where we need to be and this is not where we are happy to be. And we're doing everything in our power to try to change it quickly. But I cannot give you a number for 2-3 years down the line.
Thank you. Thanks. Thank you, everybody. That's really helpful.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Raja Kumar Z, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, sir. Thanks for taking questions. So I have 2 questions. The first one is, I just want to know, I heard that the vitamin the vitamin sales because of the COVID situation in India has kind of gone up, the people want to improve their immunity and all that. So I just wonder, is it something which is just related to COVID, or do you see structurally this sales becoming sticky as the awareness among the public will kind of increase? And I want to know how much is the portfolio of vitamins and the OTC, as a percentage of your total India sales. And the second question is, given the COVID situation, I want to know whether your September and December quarters, is it fair to assume that those two quarters will be much better than your June quarters?
Yeah, so the first question, the vitamins and immunity related demand has certainly gone up either as a result of COVID or as a preventive. So that has been observed in the April industry numbers as well. So in our view, this should continue for at least a year or so, if not more. And in terms of Torrent, the largest exposure we have to this segment is through Shelcal and the extensions of Shelcal. Apart from that, we have some smaller brands, but that will be the main part of the portfolio. And can you repeat the second question? Sorry, I couldn't grasp exactly.
Yeah, the second question is, given the current quarter, the sales are also skewed towards the COVID portfolio, where Torrent doesn't have much, from a percentage standpoint. Is it fair to assume that the September and December quarters, the India sales numbers will be better than the June quarters?
Hard to say at this point exactly. It'll all depend on the external situation and COVID environment over the next few quarters.
Okay. Now, my question is, if things stabilize in this quarter, if we come out of COVID successfully, so is it fair to assume that September and December quarters, because given the portfolio is skewed towards the non-COVID, that is
sure. Okay. So no, in that sense, yes, because obviously as of now there has been more attention of the healthcare system diverted to COVID and COVID treatments. So in that process, the regular treatments would have been on hold or postponed. So by that time, particularly in the chronic space, the demand should have picked up, assuming that everything is normalized by H2.
Okay. So if you permit, just one more question. Given that we have a significant MR strength and given the low penetration of healthcare in rural areas, I just want to know, would Torrent be using this opportunity to create more awareness and also kind of leverage the sales potential?
Yeah, so our bulk of our portfolio is focused on specialists, which has 100% coverage. So it's essentially the subchronic and acute part of our portfolio which would be relevant for this type of expansion. As of now, we feel that there is significant scope within our coverage to grow further from here, increase awareness. But at some point in the future, this would certainly be an important priority for us as well.
Okay. Thank you, sir. All the best.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Ranveer Singh from Sunidhi Securities. Please go ahead.
Hi, thanks for taking my question. Other couple of them. In India business, that MR productivity currently 8.5 lakh. Do we see this productivity going to increase from here, or after that integration of portfolio, this should mature here or be stable here?
So we had mentioned our goal of reaching 10 lakh productivity, which should be possible in the near future, and that should be the base, so to say. So we would possibly look at expansion after that based on the portfolio and not from any other objective. So as the breadth of our portfolio increases, that's when we would be looking at expansion.
Okay. And secondly, on working capital front, we see the inventory days has increased, overall working capital cycle has increased. Do you see going forward that will increase further, or we should assume we should model at this level of working capital?
So that was a conscious decision taken when the whole COVID situation started last year to ramp up the inventory, so there's no disruption as far as supply is concerned. So it will start normalizing from this quarter. So maybe by 31st December of this year, you'll see a normalized level of working capital.
And normalized would be like 100 days of inventory. How is the normal?
Yeah, I think so. Between 90 to 100 is what we try and target here.
Okay. Okay. And for capex, if you what was the capex in FY21, and if you could guide for FY22?
So FY22, I think we are looking at a normal capex between 250 to 300, which is maintenance capex. There's no expansion capex which is going to happen. And for FY21, we've incurred 300 crores.
Okay. Okay. Thanks a lot. That's it from my side.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Hussain K from Ambit Asset Management. Please go ahead.
Hi, all my questions have been answered. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Nikhil Mathur from Ambit Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi, good evening, everyone. So my question is on the absolute cost number over the last 3 years, FY19, 20, and 21. Not an absolute basis, this number hasn't moved. It has kind of remained put at around 1,400 crores. So can you help me understand how much of this flat cost base on the employee cost front has been achieved by a headcount reduction, and what has been the blended average annual compensation hike rate across the company?
No, so I think the annual compensation increase year on year will vary, right? I mean, because there are a lot of factors which are being considered. But I think if you look at a long-term period, maybe 5 years, 6 years, I think the employee cost would have gone up by maybe 8 to 10% on a consolidated basis, I would say. More in the range of 8, I would say, on a consolidated basis. I think the other expenses which you're referring to, the normal growth rate over a long period of time, maybe 5 years, we should say it should be around 7 to 8%. I mean, that's the normal way of looking at it.
Okay. So just a clarification here. Over the last 2 years, whatever control has happened, it has happened more from headcount reduction and less from lower compensation hike. Would it be fair to assume?
No, so you're talking only with respect to the employee cost, is it?
Benefit expense, yeah.
Yeah. So I think, yes, I mean, for the last 2 years, a good amount of rationalization. So that could be one of the major reasons why it's remaining same.
Okay. And apart from MRs, I mean, you clearly laid out that in the time PCPM reaches 10 lakhs, there is not really a need to add MRs. But in normal course, would there be addition to employee addition in other businesses, whether in US, international market, plant operations, anything over there?
So, Aman, you want to talk about expansion in India?
No, I'm just trying to
question
understand.
is more about international business, if I understood correctly.
No, what I'm trying to understand is that going forward, while MR count would not go up till the time PCPM of 10 is achieved, but X of medical reps, would there be headcount increase in any other business line, whether manufacturing, whether international operations, whether sales, anything else?
No, I think it's a very wide question. So as far as international businesses are concerned, I would say there's no manufacturing facility except what is there in the US. So there's no major addition which we see across the international geographies in terms of manpower, X of the field. As far as India is concerned, I mean, yes, I mean, over the next 3 years, possibly if there's an expansion capex happening, there would be increase in manpower, right?
Okay, but not imminently in FY22, given that the capex is largely maintenance capex.
Absolutely.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Thank you. We take the last question from Alok Dalal from CLSA. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. So one question on OTC. In the last few quarters, you had mentioned about revisiting your OTC strategy for Unizyme. Any update on that?
No, I don't think we had mentioned anything of this sort. But certainly in this current situation, many of these brands which have OTC potential have gained significantly due to either preventive or co-prescriptions. That includes Unienzyme, Shelcal, Vizylac.
Okay, but specifically on OTC, Unienzyme is currently the key OTC product in the portfolio.
We don't have any OTC promotion at the moment. If you recall, we had discontinued OTC promotions about 2 or 3 years ago. Unienzyme was moved completely into RX.
Okay, got it. And just another question was about, so historically, if you see, Torrent has been focused on protecting margin. Now, is there a case where you can let go of some of these high margins, but that should help you accelerate your top line growth? Is there such a thought process? And if yes, then how do you achieve that?
So the future acceleration, I would say, I mean, as of now, we are still yet to fully utilize the potential of the field force, so to say. Coverage is still quite high in that sense. But I would imagine that it would be more focused on the subchronic and acute therapies, where we would be able to expand our reach significantly. But still, it doesn't require it immediately. We feel there is enough scope for market share increase with the current coverage.
Sure. Okay, that's it from my side. Thank you very much for taking my question.
Thank you. That was the last question. I would now like to hand the conference over to the management for closing comments.
Yeah, thank you all for joining Torrent's Q4 earnings call. And if any incremental questions are there, please get back to me or Shapil. Thank you.
Thank you. On behalf of Torrent Pharmaceuticals Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.